I invite you to join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Madam City Clerk, may we have the roll call, please?
Commissioner Fung?
Present.
Commissioner Linskog?
Here.
Commissioner Scharf?
Present.
Vice Chair Kasolcharan?
Present.
Chair Rao?
Present. Very good. Thank you. The first item on the agenda is the approval of minutes for December 10th, 2024. If we can take a minute to read the minutes.
I'll go ahead and make a motion that we adopt the minutes as presented.
You have to give the public, this is an agenda item, right? So the public has the right to speak.
Are there any public comments?
There are no public comments.
Thank you.
Okay.
Do we have a motion?
I'll repeat that motion. Do we adopt them as presented?
I'll second it.
Okay, very good. Can we have a voice vote?
Commissioner Fung?
Aye.
Commissioner Linskog?
Aye.
Commissioner Scharf?
Aye.
Vice Chair Kasolcharan?
Aye.
Chair Rao?
Abstain. Not present.
The motion passes with Chair Rao abstaining.
Very good. The next item on the agenda is approval of the Feb 11th, 2025 minutes. We might take a minute to read. Okay, and are there any public comments for the minutes?
There are no public comments, Chair.
Thank you. Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Okay, I'll second the minutes. We can do a voice vote.
Commissioner Fung?
Aye.
Commissioner Linskog?
Abstain.
Commissioner Scharf?
Aye.
Vice Chair Kasolcharan?
Aye.
Chair Rao?
Aye.
The motion passes with Commissioner Linskog abstaining.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is postponements. Do we have any postponements?
We have no postponements, Chair.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is oral communications. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons wishing to address the Commission on any matter within the jurisdiction of the Commission and not on the agenda. Speakers are limited to 3 minutes. In most cases, state law will prohibit the Commission from making any decision with respect to a matter not on the agenda. Madam City Clerk, do we have any public comments?
We have one speaker in person, Jennifer Griffin. Welcome, Jennifer.
Good evening, Planning Commission. It's nice to see you all in the new year, even though it is almost March. Anyway, hi, I'm Jennifer Griffin, and I just wanted to talk tonight about a housing bill from Senator Weiner, SB 79, which is very, very concerning to me. He submitted this, I believe, in January, I think it was January 15th of the new legislative year. And this bill would allow upzoning 1/2 mile from transit, any transit area in I guess Santa Clara County, the whole state. And this bill sounds a lot like one of his previous bills, which was SB 50, which was 2018, 19, and 2020. And that bill was one of the first bills that he had come up with that was sort of all-inclusive, that everything that was near transit was going to be upzoned. You could have fourplexes everywhere. But a lot of people worked very, very hard to fight it down. I personally spent hours calling every assembly member and senator in the state. I probably spent over 200 hours. And I was very, very glad that Senator Cupertino eventually fought it down. I don't think we were ready for this. I still don't think we're ready for SB 79. I'm really, really concerned that Senator Wiener has overreached and overstepped his bounds. He is a senator that's responsible for parts of San Francisco, and I think that he tries to do things that are beyond the scope of being a senator for San Francisco. I know that senators are allowed to submit bills for the whole state. Last year, we had the Coastal Commission disruptor bills, which were very, very upsetting since I have family members. My brother and my mother are both in the Coastal Conservancy in Aptos. And it seems like these bills are getting more and more like a puzzle box. We don't know what he's doing with them. SB 79 seems to be taking transit. It could be upzoned 1/2 mile. My house is one quarter mile from transit. And they seem to be trying to have a runaround where the public is excluded. And I'm really tired of this. He only has 3 or 4 more years in his senatorship, and then he's termed out. The governor's got 2 more years. And I really think we need to keep an eye on this bill because I just think it's a placeholder for something worse. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. We have no more speakers in person and no hands raised on Zoom.
Thank you, Madam City Clerk. We'll close the oral communications. Next on the agenda is consent calendar. We have nothing on the consent calendar, I believe, and nothing on public hearings. So do we have any old business? Nothing on old business. So moving on, the next item on the agenda is agenda item 3, which is the 2024 general plan report. And the recommended action is receive the general plan report. Would there be a staff report?
I can make it really short. This is a requirement under California state law to present an annual report of both the general plan and the housing element to the legislative body of the city. Currently what is in front of the Planning Commission is the general plan annual report, which basically is a report on all the activities that have occurred in the furtherance of our general plan policies and strategies. And that is presented to you tonight for you to receive. If you have any questions about any of the items that are listed there, or happy to walk through it. Something that has always been of note to the commission is how many ADUs have been prepared. That was one of the first pieces of data that we pulled. We did have 41 ADU building permits approved in 2024, and there were, I believe, about 40 some odd, low 40s, building permits that were finalized. So there were 2 different categories that we need to report to and HCD's forms. Those forms are still under preparation because there's a lot of data to sift through, and HCD is requesting a lot of data, which is not the subject of what we're discussing tonight, but will be presented to council in time to meet state requirements. And we will forward that report to the Planning Commission once that's ready as well.
Thank you, Piyu. And just to confirm, we are receiving this report, so there is no motion, there is no vote. And so
that's right.
If commissioners have clarifying questions, this would be a good time to go ahead.
I just, in that data, will there be a trend line of how many ADUs in 2020, 21, 22, 23, so we can see if we're doing better or worse, or
I think we're
what?
doing about even. If I were to remember what has been approved in those past years, we're tracking about the same.
About 40.
About 40 a year.
Now, are those ADUs on existing buildings, or are those like new homes that are including ADUs?
Most new homes right now are proposing ADUs.
So I mean, of those 40, how many are new homes and how many are ADUs added to existing homes?
I would say about half are at least with new homes, but
Okay.
I'm happy to look deeper.
Yeah, I would
into
be
the
interested
data.
in that data.
Yeah, we can send you an email.
Other questions from other commissioners? Commissioner Lindskog, do you have questions?
Not at this moment, thanks.
Yeah, I had a question. It was really exciting to see the joint West Valley City study to address the unhoused in this plan. And I was curious when that gets further to the contract and the eventual project stage, will that come past Planning Commission?
Can you remind me of that, which policy you're talking about, just so?
I didn't write down the number. It was under the unhoused. It was a joint West Valley City study in a potential contract with Good City.
Yes, so that is a housing division initiative, and that contract, that work program does not come through the Planning Commission. That it does go through the Housing Commission.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, great. And I want to thank you, Pio, for answering a lot of my questions ahead of the meeting. I know I had a fair number of questions on what can we do about protecting some of the mixed development that we have and some of the retail corridors that are starting to transform. So appreciate your providing some insights there. I also want to acknowledge the work on the housing element that staff have done over the last year. I think, I had a chance to look at the reports from 2021 and 2023, I believe, and clearly we have made a lot of progress in the last year looking at the housing element. So I want to appreciate all the hard work that staff have put on that.
Thank you, Chair.
Were there other questions from commissioners?
I don't know if you want to take comment.
Were there public comments that we had on this item?
Yes, we have one speaker in person, Jennifer Griffin. Welcome, Jennifer.
Good evening again. I'm Jennifer Griffin, and this item is very important. Thanks to the staff for all the hours and hours and hours of housing element drama and all the hard work that they have done. Talking about 200 hours that I spent on SB 50, they've probably spent 2,000 hours trying to get us certified. In that regard, I just had a couple of comments. One of them I'm just going to bring up right away about ADUs. There was an ADU built 6 months ago in Los Altos that destroyed 2 mature oak trees. Somehow the city allowed a detached ADU to be built underneath 2 probably 80-year-old oak trees. In the lead up after 6 months, both trees died, and they were required to plant another 4. I find this senseless, wasteful. The ADU is built on a hillside where there is water that is eroding the neighbor's bank. The ADU is 4 feet from the neighbor's property. These are larger lots. The house already is 3,000 square feet. And if we're going to be doing ADUs, we should not have them 4 feet from the property line. Turns out there's problems in Los Angeles. They're not allowing the ADUs to be built again in the fire burn areas because they don't know if they can get water back to them. San Francisco, there's already problems where people don't know where the ADUs are, and we don't know how firefighters are going to get back in there. So ADUs are fine if they think very carefully, but I have seen a lot of strange things happen. I'm just going to talk about policy LU 3.3, which is building design. This is page 3 to 4. And this one was talking about building, this is building site and building design, and it had 3.3.1 down to 3.3.10, and it's attractive design, mass and scale, building locations, transitions, architecture, and articulation, street interface, entrances, et cetera, et cetera. Well, I have learned that things like attractive design are subjective, and mass and scale are subjective. And I'm wondering how do these hold up with the objective design standards that now we're supposed to be putting in? I'm really concerned that objective is like flat concrete with square edges. There's no way, no articulation. And I'll tell you right now, I'm still really scared about the RENA numbers being wrong, and we've overbuilt our city. Thank you.
Thank you, Jennifer. Madam City Clerk, any other public comments?
We have no speakers in person and no speakers on Zoom, Chair.
Thank you. We'll close public comments. Were there further questions from commissioners? If no further...
I just wanted to make a quick comment, echoing yours, Chairman Rao, just that it's great to see the progress on some of a lot of the different general plan initiatives, especially I'm seeing a lot in the affordable housing development areas. You know, the fact that you're using the funds to rehabilitate low-income households, and the anti-displacement policies, a lot of effort on that part. And I know that was manpower, so it's great to see that. And, you know, I think we had also discussed the opportunity around economic development and retail, and that is a separate conversation elsewhere. But, you know, thank you for the work that went into this.
Thank you.
And PU, in terms of timing, this goes to City Council next?
Correct. According to state law, we have to present it to City Council by April 1st. So I believe we will go to City Council in the second meeting in March. And we will include the housing, the 8CD's APR with that report at the same time.
Okay, if there are any other questions?
Sure. I had some comments. So first of all, thanks to staff for assembling this. There were some number of typos, including in the staff report, the date is showing is February 25th, 2024.
Oh.
Probably ought to
Yes.
ought to correct that. There are a number of other typos. I would actually suggest maybe giving a run with a spelling checker. I can pass on the ones that
would be great. I just did notice another date. It said fall 2024 for the odds. That should be fall 25. I've just made that correction, but I'm open to any corrections that need to be made.
Yeah. So I wasn't so much interested in, in lots and lots and lots of specific details, but and I think this actually came up as an earlier comment. The coloration of the spreadsheet is a little odd. And I think that's something that, in the time you have before it goes to council, perhaps something to review. There are a lot of places where there are some really, really good and significant comments. Let me take an example. There was in site and building design. This is page, page 20. There's a group of things that are colored in yellow. I think that those were all. They're all notable. I'm glad they're yellow in this case, but there are a lot of places where there are actually quite a lot of informational information in the final column that would benefit from coloration to highlight.
If I may, through the chair, try to address the coloring in the spreadsheet. Anything that has been completed as an action item is colored in green. Anything that is under review or under being developed or in the process of being changed, that's colored in yellow. Items that may be considered action items, but there has been no direction, no policy direction or any authorization to kind of work on those things, those are colored in orange. And anything that basically we list as, it's not an action item, it's kind of implemented through implementation of our municipal code or, just whatever policies we have in place, those are really just outlined in gray, essentially, that there is no specific work product that's expected out of that policy. It's really just implementation of existing policies, strategies, and standards, essentially. So that's really the coloration that is in this spreadsheet. But, if there is a different coloring scheme that, the commission wishes to follow, I'm happy to take that input in.
Well, so I think that's actually good. I would just say that in the comments section, there is actually a lot of information about work that was done in the last year. And those I think, some of those end up in the gray bound, particularly a lot of things related to the completion of the housing element. So I would actually just highlight those. I think that that's actually, it may be, people may try to puzzle out what the colored items are, but I would actually highlight, the areas where there was progress. And some of these things are bolded, so maybe that's.
And that's the goal, is to kind of have everything that's new as of last year be bolded and underlined so that people can see where the changes are.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Commissioner Fung. Thank you, Piyu. I did have one question. There was a comment about TDM ordinance. Do you see that coming through the Planning Commission, or how do you see the TDM ordinance sort of working its way through?
I would probably have to have a conversation with the Transportation Department about that, because that is coming out of Public Works. So in terms of how and when it is proposed, that is something that I know that that's part of their items of work in terms of developing the plan for that. But I'm happy to bring that information back when we get more information about it.
Okay, wonderful. Any further questions from commissioners? Commissioner Lindskog, I want to make sure we're not leaving you out of the questions here.
I'm good, thank you.
Wonderful. Okay, so if there's no other questions, I think we can move on to the next agenda item, which is staff and commission reports. Are there any staff reports?
So I did want to make one report. I know I'd announced the Planning Commissioners Academy that is at Santa Rosa. That is completely sold out. The wait list is closed as well. So we're trying to figure out what next. And once we get more direction and once we find out more, we'll let you know. We were basically told they aren't adding anybody to the wait list either. Aside from that, I'm trying to think what else. No, nothing else comes to mind.
You think it's possible to get slides or other materials from the event?
We'll definitely try to figure something out so that we can get some training for the commission.
Very good. Okay, moving on then. Any commission reports from any commissioners?
Do we report if we met with any developers now, or do we? I met with the owner of the Atria parcel at Westmort, but that's not coming to us for a while, I guess.
I believe you are required to report that during Export Day for the agenda item when it comes up.
All right, that's fine.
But you're welcome to do it now as well.
No, that's fine.
Okay.
Oh, I did meet with residents on Saturday over in the North Portal area regarding the Simeon property and the Valco property.
Okay. Very good. Any other commission reports? Okay. Moving on then, the next item on the agenda is future agenda setting. Do we have any future agenda items from commissioners?
So, I have one item. I don't know if it was last year or the year before, the Planning Commission adopted the policy regarding detached ADUs and the number of them allowed. And the city council at the time adopted something else. So I wonder how we would go and try to go back to what the Planning Commission had recommended. If we'd have to have a new agenda item and then send that to city council, or what, how that would work.
So if I understand, the agenda item request is for an ADU policy review?
Yeah, that's fair, yes.
Okay, do we have a second for this agenda item?
I'll second that.
Okay. Any other additions to our future agenda list?
I did have a question about, I think in the last meeting, Commissioner Scharf had proposed some subcommittee ideas. Is that going to come to an agenda in the future?
I think we're going to have to work through agenda items and come back on that. Maybe review future agenda items and also talk about what it means to work through the logistics of what was proposed. So I don't know, P, if you want to add to that.
Oh, you covered it succinctly.
Okay, wonderful. And any last additions to the agendas, future agendas? Commissioner Lindskog?
No, I'm good, thank you.
Okay, very good. Okay, if no further additions, I think with that was the last item on the agenda. We are adjourned. Thank you.